What's up guys, it's your boy Tony Cutz. If this is your first time here, welcome, and if it's not, welcome back. Today we're doing a skin fade with a crop top. We're going to do a little beard work, and we're going to shape the front up instead of leaving it cropped and textured. We're not going to take anything off of the top, we're just going to texturize it. But before we get started, do me a solid and smash that subscribe button, press the notification bell, and keep up with these cuts. First things first, with my Andis Octanes, I'm going to use the 3.5 metal guard to set the foundation all the way around the sides of the head, all the way around the back of the head, basically the entire parietal ridge, because I know I want to make this a tight skin fade, but not super high and tight military cut. He's still going to have a little bit of a C cup. As I'm setting in my foundation, I have my comb in my hand because I'm basically clipper over combing with my guard, with the metal guard. And what that's doing is I'm setting the foundation in while also blending in the bulk into the top. We know we're not going to take any length off of the top, and we just want to texturize it so we can easily just blend the sides right into the top with that clipper over comb. You're still going to have a little bit of bulk around the sides and the back, but nowhere near as much as if you just ran the 3 all the way around the head and left the bulk. You should also right now be examining and recognizing the growth pattern of his hair. Where does all the hair want to lay when you comb it in the most natural direction? Do that and continue blending that foundation into the top. And after you're done blending with the 3.5 guard, I then used my 2 guard to run through basically the exact same zone through the entire foundation on the sides around the parietal ridge. With my 2 guard, it's a little bit shorter than the 3.5, so I can literally brush right into the same zone, really kind of just lightening up the foundation a little bit more. This is a quick step because it really shouldn't take you that long to use the 3.5 guard to level down the sides and blend into the top. It should be a quick step, 3.5, then 2, there's your foundation set, blend it into the top, on to the next step. You're going to want to then set in your skin section. The skin section is going to determine how high and how tight your skin fade is going to be. If it's going to have a drop in the back, how much of a shadow in the back you're going to have with the blend. So all this is determined by your skin level. My next step, as always, is going to be my fade section. I set that in with my Andis Masters all the way open, and I'm going to make sure that this section here is wide. I set this section in wide to assure that when I grab my Andis Masters with the fade blade, it's easy to blend that section down into the skin. The wider that section, the more room I have to blend up. Then it's just a matter of a 1 and a 2 guard to blend that middle line into our foundation. Make sure to flick that entire section and emphasize the flick. Graze through that next middle zone where you set in with the 2 and the 3 guard. Skim through that with the edge of the teeth of your clippers and pull away as you graze through that section there, and you will knock away some weight from that section without even picking up your 2 or your 1 guard, which you're then going to use to erase that line in the middle. Once you've set your fade section in all the way around the head and on both sides of your beard, you're now left with these 5 lines. These 5 lines are easy lines to fade out. They're all running horizontally through your fade, and we're going to start at the top. We're going to start with blending in the rest of the foundation into the top by clipper over combing now with no guard. When clipper over combing this haircut, I was sure to elevate the hair higher to take off less hair because I knew that weight along the side wasn't heavy. I already clipper over combed through that with the guard, so I didn't have to clipper over comb much without. The next line you're going to want to tackle is that middle line running all the way around the head through the center. That line separating your foundation and the fade section below. I'm going to throw on the 1 guard, and because I used my 2 guard to set in that foundation, the 1 guard open will flick and blend right into that. Then you just close it, flick through the same thing, same motion, and now that entire line through the middle is gone. I just just cleaned up the mustache with that one guard, seeing that the one guard was already on the clipper. And I'm just going to continue to fade all the way around the head until the last line to fade that's left is my skin line. I should have a skin line right on the top of the beard, fading up into the skin, a skin line going all the way around the head that fades down into the skin. And like I said, on the other side, I'm just repeating the same steps. Clipper over comb the foundation into the top and fade that middle line in with your one guard, maybe your zero guard if you want to add a little detail. You know I'm big on detail. You'll see me adding plenty of detail in here with my zero guard, going back with my one guard if there's a little bit of a dark spot above where I'm fading. And I did use my Andis box shaver to get everything underneath that skin line completely bald, all the way up to that skin line, flicking up and also flicking down with my box shaver directly underneath that skin line. You're now going to be left with your last line to fade out all the way around the head, that skin line going into the skin. Me personally, I've been using my fade blade on the Andis Masters cordless. I feel more comfortable getting that bottom line out with this clipper because I can easily hold the zero guard in my hand, and if I flick up a little too high, or if I want to not flick up too high and test the waters with my zero guard first, I could easily throw the zero guard on, flick up into that section that I'm thinking I want to flick into. If it takes it down, I know I made the right decision by using my zero guard first. If it doesn't take anything off, I take that guard right off and I flick up into that section with the clipper open until that bottom line is almost gone. You should be always flicking that bottom line with your clipper all the way closed. Here you see I threw in my C cup shape up before completing the fade on this side. Once I threw that C cup shape up, notice how much easier it was for me to indicate where them horizontal lines are. Not just the big ones, but the small ones that we create as we're fading these lines out. There are them little lines, and I'm telling you, sometimes you just gotta take a step back and throw your shape up lines in. You'll easily be able to see the detail needed to be added. Now that you've got that first zone of the head completely faded out, you've added in all the detail, continue on to the next three zones. You've got the first side faded, now you got to handle the back two zones on each side of the nape and the final zone on the opposite side. Fade that skin line all the way into the skin, add your detail all the way around the fade, do your final touch-ups, and then after you're done the fade, everything's nice and blurry, blended in. I'm going to shape up my C cups completely, and I'm going to throw in some texture up top. We're not cutting any length off of the top, so I'm just taking my texturizing shears and I'm going to chop at an angle only throughout the hair that is more dense than the lighter spots. Throughout the middle of his hair, it's a little bit lighter than the sides. So I'm not going to add any texture throughout the middle. I'm just going to focus on adding texture to the right and left of the top of his head. I'm wetting the hair right now because we don't want to take any length off the top, but his fringe is a little too bulky to shape up with my trimmers and get a clean line. So I'm going to section down a little bit of this front hairline, and with my feather razor, starting from the corners and working my way to the middle, I'm just going to use my feather razor to tap that fringe down, lighten it up just a bit, and then I'm going to comb all the hair back down forward, and with that same feather razor, I'm going to add more texture throughout the right and left zone of the top of his head where it's more dense than the middle. Doing this will add more texture throughout the top and even it out with that light spot in the middle. Once you've added all your texture up top and you're done with your scissors, blow dry the hair in the direction it wants to lay, and then prep your skin for the shape up. Add alcohol to a Sanex strip and rub it into the skin anywhere you're going to shape up with your trimmers or your razor. Primarily your razor, because the razor is going to add that ash line, but you also want to do it before you shape it up with the trimmers. Before you touch his hairline with trimmers, you want the skin to be clean. That's the best way to get a crisp lineup. Start from the middle of the forehead, work your way over to each corner, Get each corner and sidebar nice and straight naturally. Don't focus on getting it razor sharp yet. You can then hit everything with your razor and come back to clean it up with your trimmers. You really want to make sure your hairlines are symmetrical and fits the shape of your client's head. Take a step back and look at it from a bird's eye view always. Make sure that it is perfectly symmetrical. Make sure your sidebars match up evenly and both corners are sharp. And don't forget, guys, the forehead is not perfectly straight, so when you're doing your corners, take that into accountability and round about them corners accordingly to each client. After I razor the beard, trim up loose flyaways with my scissors, and tap up that hairline for the last time, I'm then going to add my Claim 13 texture powder, blow dry any excess powder out, blow drying it in the direction it wants to lay as always, and then I'm going to fluff it all up, get that texture showing that we cut into the top, but also combing down the hairline and making sure that hairline is showing how straight and symmetrical that is. Literally, the hairline is almost acting as a frame, not only for the face, because we use our hairlines to frame the face, but it's also acting as a frame to hold the texture that sits right on top of it. All the texture is even through from the original growth pattern all the way to the front, perfectly even through if you comb it down straight without the texture, or if you fluff it up to show the texture, it's evenly textured from back all the way to the front, where it then blends into that hairline perfectly straight and smooth. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. I hope you guys learned a little bit, maybe picked up a couple tips or tricks that I use. One thing I will say, check your trimmers before shaping up anywhere on the neck. If you notice here, my trimmers bit his neck a little bit. It was a little red, so watch out for that. But I hope you guys enjoyed this video. This is how I do most of my textured crop tops. I will be sure to post more cuts like these, but comment below and let me know what you want to see other than these type of cuts. I love y'all for subscribing, but make sure if you haven't, subscribe on your way out, and I'll catch y'all in the next video.